It says we're recording, so here we go. 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Talk About It. I wanted to bring in a longtime friend of mine, Jason Britsch. You have seen him on the news recently with the Texas Department of Transportation. We're going to be talking about a couple of things that they are currently working on. I know everybody always has questions about road work and all that, and we'll talk about a few of those things. But I wanted to bring you in because we have worked together in the past. There are a lot of great things that's going to come out of this conversation about how you got into journalism, how you ended up at TxDOT. Your in-laws have gone through some pretty harrowing things recently I want to talk to. But I just kind of want to bring it back to bringing you to Amarillo. This happened many, many moons ago, before Jason Britsch was the spokesperson for the Texas Department of Transportation here in Amarillo. You were a sportscaster for KAMR Local 4. Let's kind of dial that back and talk about how you ended up here in Amarillo from Hondo.
Yeah, I'd say, where exactly do you want me to start getting here? Because that's a kind of a multi-layered thing that happened.
Let's go back to the back, because I remember when we hired you on as the weekend sportscaster.
Right.
That was
2013. 2013. Yes. 12 years ago, can you believe? Yeah.
2013. So
last to check, yeah.
So give us a little bit of background, where you went to school, and again, just kind of how it came to you getting to Amarillo from Hondo.
Right, yeah. So, I'll try to summarize it with important details as much as I can. As you mentioned, originally from Hondo, Texas, which for people that don't know where it's at, it's about 45 minutes west of San Antonio on Highway 90. Not a big town, 3A school, about 10,000 people. Not very big. Graduated from Hondo High School in 2007, and I think I saved my parents a lot of grief and everything, because I went to Texas State University in San Marcos,
and right down the road.
Which is about 2 hours, about hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, it felt far enough to where I didn't feel like I was right next to home, but close enough to where if I did need something, then I could be there. It wasn't too far. It was basically I-35 to 90, and I was home.
How quick could you get back to Hondo?
Oh, probably if I needed to, about hour and a half. It's probably quickest about hour and a half. Because it was nice having I-35 and Highway 90. I mean, right next to each other. So, I'd probably save my parents a lot of grief, and hopefully, when they watch this stuff, hopefully money, because I knew what I wanted to do whenever I went into school. I wasn't undecided. I didn't know. It wasn't one of those things where I didn't know what I wanted to do when I went there.
You wanted to be a sports journalist.
I grew up watching SportsCenter every day. And what I would do is, and it's hard, I would do this on the below the screen, because I wanted to see the highlights before I saw the score, because of the ticker they always had. So I would cover the bottom of it, so that way I wouldn't get spoiled. And also, the thing that my mom would always tell people is that she didn't think there was another channel on in the morning whenever I got up, because that's the only thing that I would watch. So I knew I wanted to do sports broadcasting. I wanted to get into news, and I graduated in fall of 2010 with my bachelor's degree in communications and minor in psychology, but that was basically, I thought the classes were interesting.
Like, I got to take some classes. I got to fill up my roster.
I thought about some like exercise and sports science, but I was like, that would have nothing to do with it. So psychology might work a little bit better. So so I did that, and my first, I would say, big boy job was was a bureau reporter in Big Spring, Texas.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know there was a bureau there. For who?
For the CBS affiliate out of Odessa.
Oh, man.
So how I got that job was, me and my dad drove out there from San Marcos, and that's whenever we were still doing digital resumes. Like, we would go and drop off a DVD resume.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, so we would drop it off.
Ours were VHS. When I got started, I was on VHS, dude. So hey, look, I get it.
And so the funny thing about whenever we came to that station was we couldn't find it. Like, what is this address? And so we eventually found out the station's inside a mall, because the person that owned the news station owned the mall.
So in Odessa.
Yes.
Back in what?
This was 2011.
They were operating out of a mall. Well, I guess
still are. And they still are.
Are you kidding me?
They are still in there.
The only thing I would like about that is, like, during your dinner break, you could walk out to the food court, catch some food, and come back in.
There was a Fuddruckers there that a lot of people went to in the newsroom. There was a Fuddruckers in there.
I was not aware.
Yeah, and so I dropped it off. I found out it was in there, dropped off a resume, and about a couple weeks later, I came into audition, did the job, and so I did, and I got the job. So I started out as a bureau reporter in Big Spring, Texas.
Okay.
For people that may not know where that is, it's basically on US 87, in between, coming from San Angelo. You kind of just stay on San Angelo going through Sterling City, and you stay on that, and you go run right through it, and then you go to like La Mesa. And
Spoken like a true Texas Department of Transportation
Yeah.
person. Have you noticed how he's just
Yeah.
throwing out like the interstate?
It's a simple. I mean, you can't
Just
miss
easy.
it. So, but just a real quick aside on that was, I was there from 2011 to about 2012, late 2012, early 2011 to late 2012. And while I was working there, my now wife, that was her first teaching job, was down in Big Spring, Texas. And so,
How did you meet?
so she was living in the apartment complex next to the apartment complex that I was living in at the time. We never met each other, had no idea. She was working at one of the elementary schools there. And we lived there pretty much during the same time, and we never ran into each other, never met each other or anything.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is all back then, and
Yeah.
then we'll kind of catch you guys
Yeah,
back
yeah.
up on the relationship thing. So
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and did you like it?
It was a big learning curve, because that was my first big boy, here, welcome to the industry. I was kind of, I had to learn real quick that the main thing is getting in the door.
Yeah.
Because I was just grateful to get in the newsroom and work there, and I knew I had a feeling sports wasn't just going to be immediately offered to me. But luckily, several months after I started, the sports director then left, and the weekend sports director got promoted to the director, and so I auditioned and I was able to get the weekend job from there.
So you're working in Odessa at this time, and then I can't remember whose place that you took here, but we had an opening come up,
Yes.
and you think to yourself,
Emily Austin is who I replaced.
That's right. Emily Austin, I think at that point she moved, I think she was going to be a sideline person working for the Boston Celtics.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that was her. So Emily Austin, she heads out the door. You come in, and at that point, the sports director,
Michael
is
Spencer.
is
Yep.
a dear friend of mine, still talk to today, by the way. He's in news now. He gave up. We all did this, right? Michael Spencer did this, you did this, I've done this. We start in sports and transition into news at some point. So you get a job in Amarillo. Kind of first thoughts. I mean, really, going from Odessa to Amarillo, that's not a culture shock by any means.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
No. So my first thought of whenever I was here in Amarillo was, we're far away from a lot of other cities here.
Well, when you can
that was
go-
my first
Yeah,
thought.
'cause here's the thing: is when you're in college, you're back at home in an hour and a half.
Right.
You drive. You're an hour and a half away. I can get you to Dalhart in an hour and a half. I mean, I can get you.
Probably.
I can get you there. I can get you south of Tulia, maybe just on the edge of Plainview in an hour and a half, maybe on the opposite side of it. But yeah, you're right. There's not much. What is it about Amarillo though? Because there was something about it that must have set in with you, because you stayed here, you left, and you came back. What was it about Amarillo for you?
So simply, I always liked Amarillo. From the moment I was here until I left the first time, I always liked Amarillo. I don't think I really had any qualms or anything with it. It was just, I was offered a sports director job down at our sister station down in San Angelo. And so it was just, it was a better job, but in a smaller market. But I was so good with timing that I started dating my now wife, who, she's from Amarillo. She was raised here. I started dating her 2 weeks before I got that job.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So this is the beep.
This is the
We're
crux.
going to back
Yeah.
up. So you meet your now wife. How did y'all meet?
So we met at her 10-year high school reunion at a bar that's not here anymore, IDK.
Okay. Oh yeah, IDK. Yeah, I remember they used to have like 100 beers on tap.
Yes.
Crazy, yeah.
And so my wife graduated from Randall High School, and they had their 10-year reunion, and really she didn't talk a whole lot to me, because we had kind of talked online and met through there, and that's who she still kind of is. She's not the big extrovert or anything that I kind of am. She's a little bit more introverted but everything. So
I can speak to that. My wife is the same way.
Yeah.
Because I think we're so extroverted at those points. Our wives tend to be a little bit opposite, and I think there's something to that. So you guys meet. Then next thing you know, you're taking a job in San Angelo. So
Yes.
You're like, hey, look, I like you. I don't know where this is going, but I got to go.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a hard conversation because we didn't know what we were going to do because we had just been dating for just a few weeks at that point, and so I'm making this big career change about it was a 4.5 hours down to San Angelo, and so we had long discussions about it. We talked about it, and we stayed together through it. And so what we would do is, every weekend, either I would drive up here from San Angelo, or she would drive down to San Angelo from Amarillo.
That's not an easy road trip.
It's not. There's not a whole lot to look at.
All right, Mr. TxDOT, how'd you get there?
So 87 the whole way. There's one road.
You've only got one option.
Yeah, there's one road. It's north and south, and so we did that for about a year. And for those that don't know, my wife's a teacher, and so she was teaching at one of the elementary schools here. And that was just right when the school year was starting. And so she couldn't leave. And so we did the long distance for about a year. And then she went to school for about a year and a half down in Angelo State. So she was familiar with the area, and she liked it. And so after a year, she got a teaching job down there. And we were there for about 4 years. But once it got to be around that 4-year point, about towards the end of my contract, we were liking it in San Angelo, but we both kind of had the same feeling, like, I don't know if we want to we don't want to like raise a family and do stuff here, because we got married in 2018 while we were still living in San Angelo. We got married up here in Amarillo, and then in 2019 I ended up we were just interested to see if there's anything open up here, if just to see, because we both kind of were wanting to check and everything.
So I remember this conversation from my side. So at this point, now another thing I should tell you. So I always seem, because I think it's my history in sports, being a sports broadcaster here at KMR Local 4, I always meshed really well with the sports guys. And so when Jason first moved here, I just nicknamed him Hondo, because I was like, where are you from? He said Hondo. So I would always call him Hondo. So I remember Nylin saying, hey, this is crazy, but Jason Britsch. And I was like, oh, Hondo, what's he up to? She's like, I think he's going to apply for our morning anchor job. And I was like, sweet. So you apply, you get back, and then you're on our morning show. Again, this is his second stint.
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting is the transition, but then all of a sudden it's time to start having a family.
Right.
So you guys go into that.
We did, yeah. So we ended up having our oldest son, Jericho, in June of 2021. So he was also born about a month early.
Right.
He was supposed to be around, because my wife's birthday's in late July, and that's when he was expected. But yeah, we ended up having Jericho about a month early, and that was crazy, just because you think you're prepared, or you have anything.
I know, because we were house shopping around this time. So I was Jason's realtor.
Yes.
We were
a couple years before, in 2019. Yeah.
So we were trying to find that house, and I think even then in the conversation we knew kids were going to be in the picture at some point. So we searched for the house. We find the house, and then Jericho comes along, and not long after Jericho, we have Judson.
The
walls came in again.
Yes, and then he really tested the limits. Our second one still does Judson. So yeah, he was born the Saturday after Thanksgiving, in November 25th of 2023. So it's hard to forget that one. Yeah.
So another thing, real quick, your wife, wonderful educator.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, again, this is weird how the world just kind of spins back around. We have to reach out to talk to you about another news story, because your in-laws had to go through a pretty harrowing thing. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my parents, you're talking about the one with my parents, right? So while we were, and it's really just surreal kind of thinking and reflecting back on it, because we went through it and it didn't really sink in until after we had left. So as mentioned, I went to school down at Texas State down in San Marcos, and my brother and his wife lived there, and my parents still lived in Marble Falls at the time, in an RV park. And so we'd been planning it, and so we went down there for July 4th weekend. And unfortunately, that was the weekend when the floods happened in Kerrville, and all of Central Texas was basically underwater. Luckily, where we were staying in our Airbnb, where it wasn't too bad, but early that Saturday morning, my mom got a call from one of the people that lives in her RV park, saying that because they live next to, I believe, like a creek, and it was flash flood. and it was something that just happened. It was something that they didn't it's when you talk to like meteorologists, they'll say flash flooding is the most unpredictable thing to see coming.
There's a reason flash is in front of it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it just happens like that.
Exactly. And so the creek rose within hours, like if not, maybe not even that. And of course, my parents were not there, but they got a call from from one of their friends that lived there saying that their RV's underwater, or like it's been swallowed. And it was full of water. And so immediately my brother and my mom ran out there, and they went to go check on it, see what it was, help out, however. And once the water went down, they were able to go check on everything, and it was a total loss. So they completely lost one of their vehicles was moved to the other side of the RV park. It was picked up by the water, and they lost a lot of stuff, but they were able to save a lot of stuff. But the RV was a total loss, and so that's it was.
Yeah, and sorry that I got that confused. I was thinking about your wife's family.
No,
it was definitely your family.
Yeah.
How are they now?
So they're good. So it ended up almost kind of being. And I hate saying that, I don't want to speak for them, and they kind of mentioned too, it's kind of a little bit of a blessing a little bit, because
they ended up here.
That they're now living in Amarillo. Not only are they living in Amarillo, they're living about 3 blocks from us. So they're about a 10-minute walk maybe from our house.
I remember when you got me in touch with your mom, and we were talking about possibly finding a place for them to live, and they ended up finding a place.
Yeah.
I just went right down the street from you guys,
Yeah.
which is ideal for grandparents and grandbabies. That's all wonderful. So they've settled in. They're making Amarillo their home. That's good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before we wrap, I mean, I knew this when you came in. I knew this was going to be one of those things, just because we've known each other for so long, and just being able to talk about so many different things. I'm glad to know that the boys are doing good. Any other kids?
No, we're good. We're done. Done. I can say that I can say that with 100% certainty. Like we're two boys is a lot, Andy.
Well, hey, I've got 2 girls.
I've heard 2 girls is more mental. Boys are the physical. They'll exhaust you, and they will wear you out from the moment they wake up.
I need to say, for the record, I love being the father. I love being a father. It is the best thing.
It is.
Second to being a husband, I just absolutely love it. It is incredible. But you're right. The girls up here, it is.
It's a mental.
It is a mental thing that I've got it. But
the drama
I love
of everything. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I can name so many Taylor Swift songs you don't even want to know. Which we won't get into that because there's not enough time. I don't know how much time we got left, but not much time. So I'm glad they're doing well. I'm glad the parents are doing well, and then I know that your wife's mother is here.
Yes.
And so you're surrounded by family, surrounded by all these things. So you leave the station.
Yeah.
You take a job, Texas Workforce, and then this opportunity presents itself at TxDOT. That has got to be. I noticed that anybody that ever gets that job most of the time stays. I mean, I remember. I mean, when somebody gets that job, it is a coveted one. They stick there for a while. How did you land that?
So it was something that I wasn't even looking for. I was really happy with that job over at Texas Workforce Solutions, and I just got a call from the PIO at the time, Sonia Gross, and we happened to be friends because I was working here at the news station. She was the PIO, so we would do stories, and then we kind of commiserated and became friends because we both shared that we were both Atlanta Braves fans, and that's just how it happened. We just had a friendship from there, and out of nowhere, I still remember I got a phone call from her asking if I was interested in being a public information officer for TxDOT, and I was just like, maybe.
Yeah,
like,
every call that comes in, you're like, maybe. Talk to me.
And I was just kind of caught off guard because I liked the job and I was happy there and it was going well. I had a good schedule. And so I was like, I got to think about this. So Sonia kind of explained everything to me and how it worked, what my responsibilities were, and just real quick. And then, so I thought about it, and then she was like, if you want to, then I can help put in a good word for you, because really you never know where relationships are going to take you. And if I hadn't have known Sonia or developed that friendship, I wouldn't be in this position. So it
helps to know people and to network. We talk about that all the time, networking and building those outside relationships, because you never know. You didn't have in your mind when you worked here that this was all going to come about. Real quick, because I know that we've got to go. I've got to wrap this up in about 3 minutes. Some big projects that TxDOT working on right now. I want to give you a chance just to talk about kind of what you guys are pushing right now.
We've got some major projects going on. The northwest section of State Loop 335 out there from from Western to about BI-40 in that area. That one's what's funny about that one is the same contractor that's working on that one is the same one that's working on the I-27 in between Amarillo and Canyon, the widening from 4 to 6 lanes. Those are two of our more massive projects that are happening.
Huge.
And so these are some really big projects. The one between Amarillo and Canyon, as far as bidding wise, money wise, is the largest the district's ever seen. I think at about $312 million project.
The I-27?
I-27, the widening from 4 lanes to 6 lanes is at 312.
Just from Canyon to Amarillo.
Yep. And yeah, $312 million. That's how much that project is.
$312 million.
Yeah. Materials aren't cheap.
And so
it's about a 4-year project.
Yeah. When do we expect to wrap that up?
So the expected completion date is the end of 2028.
Okay.
That's when.
So we're going to be in this for a while. For those of you
Yeah.
people who are, because again, this is a massive project. It takes a while. You got to move traffic. There are a lot of ins and outs of this thing. So
Yeah.
2028.
Yeah, that's when we're
few
looking
years
at.
away. Okay. In terms of the loop, I know there's a lot of stuff you've kind of
Right.
mentioned on the north side of the loop. How about that? What are we looking
So
at?
that one is about. I think we're the expected completion date. I think is the end of next year. The end of 2026 is the expected completion date for that one, and that one is building the freeway, the main lanes in that area.
How are things going? I know there was a study recently done about the loop over kind of in the area of West Plains. You guys are doing some things there.
Yes, yeah, we actually just put out a news release today about a signal light warrant study that was just recently finalized. And what, if people aren't familiar with what a signal light warrant is, it's basically a big traffic study that's done at intersections that are part of state maintained roadways to see if a traffic signal or some sort of safety improvement is necessary there. And 4 of the intersections there at FM 2186. Arden Road, Hillside Road, and 34th Avenue met one or more of the criteria for a traffic light to be.
Does that mean their traffic lights are going to go there?
Yeah.
That means that's
So they've met the criteria for it.
When
Yes.
are we going to see those projects?
So construction. So it's all dependent upon funding, and funding. It ebbs and flows. But the earliest construction could start on that, and I want to really emphasize could. Just because if it's dependent upon funding, funding is fall of next year, so fall of 2026.
Yeah, give Jason some leeway here. He's not the one cutting checks, so if we're a little,
No one wants me to because I'm terrible at math. Too.
Yeah, you want to be a part of that. So let me ask you this: eventually, out in that West Plains area where you take really kind of where the loop kind of turns. At some point, are there just going to be overpasses so that way there
Yes.
are no stoplights? So the grand plan is you can get on the loop and you can go.
Right. Yeah. For the main
true
lane.
loop.
So yeah, and it's something that I like to educate whenever I go tell people. It's not just informing them; it's educating them about what's happening because the roads that are out there are by no means the finished product. Those are the frontage roads for what will be the main lanes, and so that's going to be anywhere from the next 5 to 10 years.
All right, where can we go to learn a little bit more about those projects?
Yeah, absolutely. You can visit our website. We have a project page for that one. It's at TxDOT.gov, and you can search State Loop 335, and there's a project page for that. And then also we like to update with news releases and everything on our social media accounts on Facebook, Nextdoor, Twitter, and X. Sorry, I keep calling it Twitter. It's hard not to.
That. It's just a thing.
X
I
and
know.
Instagram as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, Jason, I appreciate you. It has been wonderful watching your career, just getting here bright-eyed, being a sportscaster all those years ago. And then you have always done such a great job, and we appreciate the work that you've put in. Man, I'm glad that the family's doing well.
Yeah.
Glad you got family around you. Man, you're blessed, and we just appreciate you. So thank you for coming in here so we could talk about it and kind of just get the scoop on
No problem.
Jason Britsch, a.k.a. Hondo.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
You bet.